Thought that I was playing in the past, now I'm super fast, real raw, relevant. I'm also known as super bad, with a super attitude. If you don't like it, you can book a pass and be the first in line to kiss mine. Wait a minute, what I mean is I'm a lion, not a sheep. I don't need a weakling around to try to follow me. I'm destined to be better, get it bigger every day. I don't got the patience to sit around try to play. Focus like an animal, king of the...
Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, welcome to the Revolution Podcast. I am Sean Whalen. Glad to be here. Glad that you are here. You can't see, well, those of you that are watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm all sweaty and greasy and gross because I just blew out a tire on the freeway, which is kind of a cool, well, I don't want to say cool experience. It was a unique experience doing 75 miles an hour and then having zero tire pressure, and it kind of brought me back to the Baja days. I felt like I was in the race truck, and I told my boys who were in the truck with me, it's damn good that I'm a professional race car driver, because if not, we would have died. That 1-ton GMC would have done cartwheels down the 15. So the moral of the story is that if you don't want to die when you have a flat tire, learn to drive a race truck in the dirt. My friends, I'm excited for this episode. Here's why. I did a Facebook post before we jumped on here, and I wanted to do an episode with my boys. If you've followed the podcast for any period of time, you know that I did a really cool episode with my daughter probably a year and a half ago. And it was super fun. It was really, really, really fun. And so I hit up the boys. I said, boys, you want to do a podcast? And I wanted to make this podcast a conversation between a dad and his sons, obviously, but I wanted to create a podcast that we could talk about real shit with my boys, and take questions from other dads and other guys who have sons. And you know, we can do the daddy-daughter thing, but I wanted this just to be a man conversation. So if you're listening to this and you have a son, I don't care. I mean, my two boys are here with me right now. And Pierce, how old are you?
9.
Pierce is 9. You're going to have to talk into the microphone.
9.
There you go. That a boy. And then Will, how old are you?
12.
Will's 12. So I've got my boys here. So if you have sons, I highly encourage you to go grab them, sit down, have a conversation with them, give this a listen. Maybe you're out on guys' night, but I just wanted to have a conversation not only from my perspective of being a father and having kids in this day and age, in this society, in this era of technology and of, you know, this social climate and environment that we have, but also really have a conversation with them, like from their perspective of what it's like to be two little turds, you know, with a crazy dad who drives a race truck and blows out tires at 75 miles an hour on the freeway and all of that. So that being said, I do appreciate all of you that participated and sent me your questions, because there's some really good ones. And I left some of them secret for the boys, but I asked them a couple of them on the way up here because, truth be told, they get a little shy. Pierce, you get a little shy. His cheeks are blushing right now, and you guys can't even see it. But it is kind of hard sometimes to be put on the spot, huh? Yeah. To like have people ask you like strange, random questions. Do you feel like you have to get it right, huh? Do you feel like that sometimes? Like you
Sometimes, yeah, kind of.
Talking to the mic.
Sometimes.
So like I get that. Like you feel like there has to be the right answer, and somebody's asking you a question, and part of your mind is like, well, what do I say? And that's kind of different than what you've experienced me doing and living, right? And teaching you guys. Why is it different? Why do we say whatever it is that we want to say?
Because people want to see like our perspective of things, and they want to hear what we have to say.
Yeah. And how does it feel knowing that you just tell the truth, you just share what you want to share and say what you want to say versus like having to try and create the right answer? Is it easier to do it that way?
Yeah, it's cool, like having my own answers instead of like reading off a script.
Yeah, or saying what you're supposed to be saying according to other people, right? Okay, so pull up, talking to the mic so we can hear you, guys. I wanted to share this. I'm 39 years old, and you know, being a dad is a trip. It really is. I mean, it's such a cool, unique experience. It's also like terrifying because you know I see the world. I'm in it as much as anybody else is in it, and you can go all biblical and be like, you know, be in the world, not of the world, la, 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 la. But the reality is, like, my kids go to public school, and, we live a pretty average, normal life. Well, technically, I guess we're your average family, right? Like, we've been through some hard stuff. We've overcome hard stuff. We've got, a great life. And I think for the most part, we do, pretty much what we want to do. Maybe we're a little crazier because we drive race cars and stuff and whatever else. But, I learned a really valuable lesson. And this is growing up with a father that I never did anything with. And you guys know this. I've talked to you about this. But, I don't ever remember fishing with my dad. I never shot guns with my dad. I never shot a gun ever with my father. I never raced a race truck or hell, I don't even remember just riding bikes down the street. I really don't have any memories of that as a kid. And that's neither good nor bad. Doesn't make my dad a good guy or a bad guy. It's just how I was raised, and I decided a few years ago, as many of you know, I went through a divorce and a bankruptcy a number of years ago. And it was kind of like my midlife crisis. And it was coming out of that and realizing that I had worked 20-hour days. I had built this empire, if you will, quote unquote. I was making millions of dollars. I remember the Vegas house and the St. George house, and we had houses, all over the place, and boat and cars and everything by the world standard that made me very, very successful. But I wasn't really happy. And it was after, pretty much burning everything to the ground, going through a divorce, that I just decided, I'm like, dude, I wasn't happy because I was playing by everybody else's rules. I was doing everything based off of what I thought success was supposed to look like. And I know a lot of dads listening to this right now, I don't know if you're, blue collar, white collar, if you're working 2 hours a day or 20 hours a day. I mean, it doesn't matter. What I want this conversation to be about is literally creating the life that you want, because I made a decision years ago that I was going to create the life that I wanted. And that was, if I wanted to race trucks, we race trucks. If I wanted to throw the football, we threw the football. If I wanted to work, 2 hours a day or 10 hours a day, I could make that decision and have those liberties and have those freedoms, because I really didn't have that up to, this point in time in my life, in my early 30s. And so, I'm really proud, to be honest, of the journey that I've been on, because I've built a life that I really enjoy. I mean, I'm sitting here with these two knuckleheads, and my son and I have raced in the Baja 500, and, Pierce and I are throwing the football whenever the hell we want and really doing whatever we want. And I'm proud of that. I don't say it to brag or to boast. I say it simply because I was the guy working 20 hours a day. I was the guy that was doing everything that we were supposed to be doing, and it just didn't make me happy. And being able to make that declaration, that's one of the things that I want to instill in my children. And those of you listening now, that's ultimately what I realize, is that I don't remember like a whole lot of what my dad said to me, but I remember how it was. I remember what we did or didn't do, and sitting here with my two boys, like, I anticipate that, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, Will and I were just talking on the way up here about some of the, your most fond memories, and it's racing the race truck, right? Like, I asked Will coming up here, like, somebody asked a question, like, what's the earliest remembrance or memory that you have of your dad? And he's like, well, I don't really remember anything until, up to racing, but everything's from racing, and my goal is to be able to leave a legacy where I empower and inspire my kids to be independent. I want you guys to be able to think for yourselves, create your own reality. And, if by me doing what I've done over the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years allows me to teach you that and show you that, to me, that's success. You know what I'm saying? So you guys have anything you want to say to that? Both of you shaking your heads. You guys are so funny, man. Having a conversation, like, we'll sit at home and talk all day long about race trucks and stuff like that, and you get a mic in your face and you guys are all clammed up. Okay, so should we ask some questions? You guys want to go through some questions?
Yeah.
One of the things that really, and just as a side note before we jump into some of these questions, and what I really wanted to do is like have Will and Pierce like engage with not only these questions, but just open up the dialogue in the forum to what it's like being a kid. One of the things that struck me this year, which was really cool, was when I ran for Congress. And Will, was it your principal? Who was it? Tell the story about your principal who came and talked to you or whatever. Pull the mic up. There you go.
I was like sitting at lunch with my friends, and I was eating my lunch, and my principal came up and was like behind me, and she said, "Hey, Will, like, isn't your dad running for Congress?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my dad." And she really thought that was like a cool thing, that I'm just an average kid, and like my dad is running for Congress and doing something cool like that.
Yeah. And that's what she said to you? Mm-hmm. How'd that make you feel?
It made me feel cool because I knew that like that was something that not everybody does. Like, it's something special, and like it's a cool experience to have.
Yeah. What did you learn from that? Like, what did that teach you? Because I remember you telling me that, and I was like beaming. I was smiling ear to ear because I know how cool that is for you and to be with your friends and have that experience. But what did that teach you? What did you learn from that?
I learned that like you can do anything. Like, you don't have to be somebody or grow up doing something to be able to run for Congress. You can grow up a certain way or do something, and you can do anything you want.
Yeah, literally. Like, I think there's an idea that you have to, like, what do you want to do when you grow up, right? People say that all the time. And I love the idea that you say, well, I don't really know, or I want to do this and do this and do this. Like, I want to drive race trucks. I want to build spaceships. I want to do whatever. I think that's cool because they're really like, what did I know about running for Congress? Not a lot. I just knew that I wanted to do it, and I knew I wanted to put my hat in the ring and be the man in the arena, like legitimately doing it. I think that's cool, man. Like, just literally having that experience and learning, like, Will, what do you want to be? Well, you can be whatever the hell you want, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think, Pierce? Pierce, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Like a racer.
A racer? What does that mean? What do you want to race?
Like a truck or a dirt bike.
Dirt bike? You're actually pretty ballsy. You're pretty good. You picked up driving the Razor really well. That's one of the things that we like doing. We're always out camping and four-wheeling and stuff, and we've got a Razor, a Polaris Razor. Shout out to Polaris. Polaris, if you're listening to this, we wouldn't mind repping your guys' stuff. We just got to keep working that, right? I'm good at driving and stuff, Will. I don't know about getting sponsorships and stuff yet, but we're working on it, right? Maybe this podcast will be one that they listen to, and they're like, yeah, we should sponsor Will, because that's one of the things Will wants to do. But yeah, you're a little badass driver, Piercy boy. Anything else you want to say, Bob?
Mm-mm.
No. What did you think about the whole Congress thing? You didn't really care, do you? No, it's fine if you didn't care. You guys that are listening can't really see me. He just kind of shakes his head. He's like, I don't really care. But it was pretty cool seeing a real live eagle, huh?
Yeah.
That was pretty rad. I had an eagle at my campaign launch because why not, right? I mean, I think if you don't have an eagle at your campaign announcement and launch, like, you're not American. It's just not patriotic at all, right? Maybe not. All right. Okay, so I want to go through these questions really quick, guys. And again, those of you that are listening to this, dads, wherever you are, please, would love your engagement. I'd love to hear your comments on this. Share this podcast with, your sons. I don't care how old they are. And I'd love to continue the conversation. One of the things that I'm super passionate about is obviously being a dad. It's my favorite thing. I wake up, I'm a dad. There's nothing that I do that negates or takes away from being a dad. So like every single thing that I do in life, business, this, that, and the other, racing trucks, building companies, it's all secondary to being a dad. So share this with your boys and engage, and we do this again and keep growing it and whatever else. So you guys ready for some questions?
Yeah.
You guys ready to engage? Okay,
Let's
cool.
do it.
So first question that we got is, what's your favorite memory with me? What is your favorite, Will? What is your favorite memory with me?
Probably my favorite memory with you is the beginning of like the first race that I've ever done. Me getting into that truck and like looking through that windshield and talking to you, like knowing that it's going to be something that's going to expand and get bigger, and we're going to be doing that for the rest of our life, and just keep doing that and like working together in that way. I really like that experience.
Yeah. I remember that like vividly, man. I've told people about that because like everybody, all the team, like Scotty and everybody else, they were like, dude, we love that you're going to do this. And those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I bought a race truck last year, and my friends who are here in Utah flew me down to the Baja 1000 in September. And long story short, I watched my buddy and his son cross the finish line. And you remember I FaceTimed you from the finish line. I FaceTimed William, who was 10 at the time. And I said, like, I'm FaceTiming him there with these trophy trucks and razors and the whole thing. And I said, dude, I'm going to buy a truck. And like, you and I are going to do this. You remember that?
Yeah.
And like, I was at the finish line at the Baja 1000 saying like, we're going to do this. And long story short, I ended up buying a truck about a month and a half later. And so what Will's talking about is the very first race that we ever had. I think it was Parker, right? Parker 425. And it was my very first race ever. I owned my truck for like a month and really didn't know anything about off-road racing. I really had not practiced at all. I drove like 3 hours, and then I rolled my truck 5 times, and we spent the next 3 weeks trying to fix it just to get it ready for this race. And everybody was like, look, Sean, we love the idea that you want to race with your son, but you might want to get a couple races under your belt first. And I said, look, you don't understand, man. Like, I told my son we were going to race, and we're going to race. So you guys can either help me do this and make it as safe as possible, or I'm just going to put him in the truck. And so the very first race we had was the Parker 425, and you got in at, I think, Pit A. It was the very first, Pit A or Pit 1, whichever one it was. And I'll never forget pulling up to that pit and just seeing you in your baggy race suit and holding you had like a little piece of foam that you had to sit on, right? Mm-hmm. And it was like a booster seat because you couldn't see over the windshield. And I'll never forget their big, huge helmet. And I was bawling like a baby, man. I remember that like it was yesterday. Why is that such a cool memory for you? Like, why is that kind of your number one thing that you remember, your favorite memory?
Because I know that you didn't know that much about it, and I know that was just like something that it was going to get bigger. Like, now that I've realized and like watched us do more races and become a bigger race team, I realized like how cool, like how blessed I am to be able to have that. Like, not many kids can race in a truck with their dad, and I realized that's like a really cool thing that I can do.
Hell yeah. I love it, dude. Piercy, what's your favorite memory with me? What's your favorite memory of all the things that we've done, of all the crazy stuff we've done? What do you think?
Probably going to races and like watching you race and like finish a race and see you at the finish line and stuff.
That's your favorite? Yeah, I remember at the Mint, you were there and you climbed in and you were in the truck when we drove it up on the podium. You remember that? There's a cool picture of you sitting on the hood and me and you. So that's your favorite thing. What's the most fun? That's the second part of the question. What's the most fun you remember having with your dad? What's the most fun you had with me? What do you think? You don't know? Tossing the football? Yeah, everything, right? Pierce is not a man for many words. That's okay, right? As long as you have soul and you have passion and you can punch your brother in the face, you're fine, right? Okay, cool. All right, next question. This is a good one. This one's for you, Will. We'll leave this one to you. It's have you had the sex talk with him yet? And what's the right age, do you think? This is somebody who's really interested. It's Will, have we had the talk yet? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You gotta speak up. Yes?
Yeah.
This is the question he doesn't want to talk about. We've talked about this a lot. And I believe, my personal opinion as a father is I know that my boys are going to be exposed to whatever you want to be exposed to, whether it's, we live in a day and age of technology and of advancement, and we can pretend that we're not going to see things and experience things and hear things, and your kids are going to, your buddies are going to see or talk, or they have an older brother who, whatever. So I'm a firm believer of just like blunt truth, raw honesty, no bullshit. We're not going to mince any words about really anything, whether it's sex, whether it's girls, whether it's money, whether it's business or politics. Like, this is what I believe. This is what it is, right? And then you can kind of hash it out. What's it been like, Will, at 12 years old, having those kinds of conversations with me about like sex and girls and all that other stuff?
it's not weird. Like the first time it was weird, but now it's not weird because like I know what it is, and it's not, it's normal. It's not something that we need to hide away or not talk about because it's real.
Yeah. Like we talked about, masturbation and stuff once, and it was like I just straight up asked Will, I'm like, do you know what this is? And he's like, yeah, and we had this conversation just straight up about your body and what it is and the entire experience. It might be weird to some people, but it's real. It's true. But what you said I thought was really, really cool. Do you remember what you told me about like having the conversation and how you felt afterwards? Like you said, you felt like you didn't have to worry about it, right? Like we had the conversation and there wasn't anything to worry about, right? So do you feel like that at times where maybe something's not clear with me and you kind of have that on your mind, like you're thinking about it, and like, what is that like?
Yeah, I like having a conversation because I don't have to like think about it, and I know that we got that out of the way, and I know what it is, and I'm not wondering about it like on my own. And
Yeah. So you wonder about stuff sometimes, and it's probably not easy to like bring stuff to your parents, is it? Sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's just how it is being a kid because you don't know, is it weird? Should I ask? Should I not ask? And so what do you kind of keep stuff inside sometimes? Mm-hmm. So like me approaching you and saying, hey, here's a deal. Like, let's talk about this. Does it kind of make it easier? It makes it like more, it just makes it simpler. Yes? No?
yeah, it does.
Why?
Because it's just like, it's not as weird because it's like a real conversation, and it's just easier having like, I think it's easier having you bring it up because it is weird coming up to you and having like asking a question or something like that.
Yeah. So what would you say then? What advice would you give to not only kids listening to this who might be your age, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, but even to their dads? What would you say about having the quote unquote sex talk? What would you say to them?
It might be weird having it, but it is going to make it easier, like just getting that out of the way so you don't have to wonder about it, or like just asking the question. It's weird or it's embarrassing, but it's real, and you're going to talk about it eventually. So
Yeah. Yeah. I like that, man. I really do. And that's something that I appreciate about being a dad and being who I am, is just being straightforward on stuff like that. Like I don't know. People say, well, what's the right age? I don't know what age is right or not. I just know that like ever since you guys were little, I just didn't want to lie. I didn't want to bullshit, And so I was like, let's just have the conversations, and you're going to figure this stuff out at some point in time anyways. Right. Mm-hmm. Cool. Good. I like that. It's good. Here's a good question from my buddy Jeff. If you could start a business with your dad, what would it be? If you could start a business, like any business, with me, like as your partner, what business would that be?
a race team, but I know that you already have one, but it'd be cool to like be your partner with that and like be involved with that more, like as a business type of way.
To legitimately like, grow like a real business, kind of like Robbie Gordon and his son Max. I mean, Max is super young, so it's not like he's in business with his dad, but build like a real race company. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Piercy, what business would you start with me? If you could start any business and do anything, you could build rocket ships, you can make candy, you can grow trees, race. What would you do? What business would you start? What are you thinking? Spit it out.
Mm-mm.
You don't know? Do you want to not answer any more questions today? Pierce is, what would you start? What would you want to do? Would you want to start a football team, a baseball team, a sports team, race team, build houses together? What would you want to do?
Like a football team?
You want to start a football team? We'll buy the New York Giants. We'll buy an NFL team. What would you do if you like bought the team? What would your role be? Like, what job would you want? Would you want to be the coach? Would you want to be the guy that like flies the team around on the jumbo jet? What would you do?
Be like the coach.
You want to be the coach? Sweet. Done. Let's do it. I'm going to need to make a couple $1 billion for us to do that, okay? So Will, you and I are going to need to win a lot of races to afford to buy a NFL team.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here's a cool question. If you could do only one awesome thing with your dad that you haven't already done, what would it be? Now, this is cool because there's a lot of dads probably listening to this and kids that like, I love ideas. You know, I love doing crazy random stuff. Like I'm all over the place. I want to do everything.
Yeah.
So there's other 12-year-olds listening right now. If you could do one awesome thing with your dad that you haven't already done, what would it be?
I remember you went skydiving, and I remember like watching the videos of it, and it looked really fun. But I know that I'm too young to do that. But I don't know what specific I would want to do. But like just a one-on-one trip with just me and you to like just talk and communicate and like hang out. Just go somewhere for like a weekend, just us.
Yeah.
No distractions, just something like that.
Interesting. If you do one awesome thing with your dad you've already done, you'd want to do a trip. Where would you want to go? You could do anything. Like, what would you go do? Where would we go? What would we do?
I love riding dirt bikes, so I'd want to like take the dirt bikes to some way cool place and just do that like all day.
Yeah. We kind of, as like a little side note, I just bought my first dirt bike. Will and Pierce have had dirt bikes for like 2 years because I bought them bikes basically to teach them because they didn't know how to ride. So we'd we'd go camping and bring them up with us and be in a huge field. And I'm like standing there helping them ride. And now Will's like a total ripper. And so I just bought my first dirt bike. And Will and I went on our first ride together. What's today? We went on Sunday. So 2 days ago. And I'm still sore. I feel like I got hit by a bus. Like was it fun?
It was so fun.
It was like super, super, super rad. It was gorgeous. We went on the single track up American Fork Canyon, but I bet you I crashed. Well, you saw me crash. How far into the ride were we before my first crash on my new bike?
Probably like 500 yards or something.
we weren't even barely on the trail, and there were all these like big, huge tree stumps and logs, and I wadded it up and just freaking crashed. And Will was like, rah, 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 just like whipping right up this freaking trail. And I was like eating shit right out of the gates, dude. I fell so many times. Right towards the end, like Will was already down to the parking lot. I probably had like a quarter of a mile left, and we went through this river. And my bike, I got a pretty fast, torquey Husqvarna bike. And I went through this river and just lost it. And like the bike just shot out from underneath me. And I crashed right in front of this family. They were like walking their dog. There's 3 kids and mom and dad, and they're 20 feet away, and my bike goes flying. And I was like sliding along the trail. They just kind of stared at me and looked at me. I got down to the bottom. What was like the first thing I said when you were in the parking lot? Do you remember what I said?
I think you're like, that was hard, or like something like that.
I think I probably swore a little bit though, didn't I?
Yeah.
You can swear on this on the podcast. It's okay. Or we just won't show mom. We won't let mom listen to it.
Okay.
Actually, I think she already knows. Pierce, what would be the one thing that you do that we haven't already done? Like if you could go do anything with me right now, what would it be?
Probably like go skydiving or something.
Do you want to do the same thing as your brother, huh? That's fine. You see how much influence you have over him? If you were like, I'm going to go punch Patrick right in the friggin' stomach, he'd probably go over and punch Patrick in the stomach too, you know? You better be careful, bro. He's going to do what you do. You go skydiving? Anything else? You want to go swim with the sharks or something? I want to swim with sharks. I think that'd be cool. Be super scary, but like really cool. Done. We'll go skydiving. We're going to set it up. Okay. Next question. What are your little fellas like doing the most with you? What's like your favorite thing, your favorite activity to do with me? What's your favorite thing to do?
I don't have a favorite, but just like us time, anything that we're like doing together, like whether it's bowling or going up the canyon or just anything that's we're spending time together. It's really fun.
Do you remember when we were at the store? What store were we in?
I think it was Harmon's.
Was it Harmon's?
I think so.
And I'm like a little kid, so when I walk into the store and they have like those big buckets of like beach balls or footballs or whatever, like I'm always grabbing one and like pegging the kids with it and stuff. But I think you said that. Like we were in the store and you were like, this is more fun like going out and doing stuff was us just like going shopping. Like we were walking through the store. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Not too long ago?
Yeah.
And I was like, that was just the most fun. Like just me and you walking down the aisles, I forget what we were buying. It doesn't really even matter. It was just me and you like cruising through the freaking supermarket, throwing shit at each other and knocking paper towels off the shelf and stuff. What about you, Piercy? What's your favorite thing to do with your old man?
Probably like pass the football or going dirt biking.
Throwing the football? We're always doing that, man. We just go out in the front yard, huh? We did that like 2 weeks ago. Tell everybody what we did like 2 weeks ago out in the cul-de-sac.
I forgot.
You remember we were throwing the football into something?
Oh, the garbage.
Yeah, tell everybody what we were doing.
So I kind of forgot, but we were just passing the football for a little, and then Dad's like, I'm gonna try and throw it into the garbage, and he made it like on his third try.
Big, huge garbage can, right?
Yeah.
Somebody left their garbage can out in the cul-de-sac. And so we opened up the lid, right?
Yeah.
And I was on one side and you were on the other, right by the trash can. And what was I doing?
You threw it on, you tried throwing it, and then on your third one, you made it. And then I tried, and then I did a couple, like a lot, and then I'm like the last one, and then I did one more time, I'm like last one, and then I made it.
Right. I remember that, dude. I was like, all right, last one. And you missed. And I'm like, all right, this is the last one for real. We probably threw it like 50 times.
Yeah.
And you like totally nailed it. That was awesome, dude. I remember that. That was cool. So throwing the football. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. How much time do you guys get on your phone? We're pretty straight up about the phone, man. Right?
Yeah.
Like, look, the phone is what it is. It's for what it's for. I know that you guys like spending time on playing games. Like you've got like truck games and stuff like that. But like we don't have any issues with that. Like when I'm like, look, put your phone down and we go do our thing, we put our phone down. That's something too that I really think, you know, I've been attached to my phone for a long time. Well, number one, I run a business basically off my cell phone now, but I know that like over the last couple of years, I've made it a priority. Like when we went to the beach, I remember last year, we go to the beach every year to hang out with Nana. And I remember going down to the beach. It was either you or Bryn said something like, hey, Dad, like.
It's usually Bryn.
Yeah, Bryn said something like, I want you to be on your phone less this year. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't realize, you know, because we're at the beach and we're playing and I'm always like, you know, doing an Instagram story or something like that, which I wasn't like aware of that. So we made a deal, right? Remember, I was like, every 2 hours I get 10 minutes on my phone. And then we started like our 2 weeks at the beach, and then by like the second or third day, I just left my phone at the beach house, and we just played all day long, and it got easier. So that's something that I definitely think I'm aware of. But what's cool, and the thing I like about what you guys do is you talk to me about it. You're like, hey, Dad, like you're on your phone, or put your phone down, or you know what I mean? Like you're always like doing a story or taking a picture. It's kind of become a joke now where you're like, you know, Dad's taking a picture for Facebook or something like that. But I definitely think limiting time, and it's not a bad thing. It's not like because you're using it too much. I just think that we're so used to using our phones, and it's always, you know, it's just part of our day. It's part of who we are in a lot of different ways, how we communicate. But I definitely love just being able to leave it in the house and throwing the football and riding dirt bikes and doing our thing. Yeah?
Definitely.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. So here's a good question. She said, I believe I have a great relationship with my boys. And one thing that always gets me, that they know that they can come to me and tell me anything, but somehow they're still afraid. How do your sons overcome that? Or do they still hold back? She says, I'm trying to get all my kids to always be truthful. That's a big question, man. So what do you think, Will?
With that question, I know that like we can tell you anything. You're not going to judge us or like do anything like that, but some questions are weirder or harder to ask you, but I know that it's easier to like ask you most questions. I know that we can tell you anything.
Why do you think that is? Because really what she's saying is like, look, I want my kids to tell me the truth and I want my kids to talk to me more, but they don't. Why do you think it is that it's easier? Because I don't think it's always been that way. Like it hasn't, and I'm kind of an intimidating guy, and you know I get fired up lots and whatever. So I'm sure it's harder for you guys. But how has it gotten easier to ask me questions and to bring me stuff?
I think just like getting to know you better. Like the past year and a half, you've been off your phone lots, and like we've been spending more time together. And I think just getting to know you more and like just hanging out and like being together makes it easier. Because like while we're going bowling, I can like bring up a question, or it's just easier to do it that way.
That's a trip, man. It's kind of a trip hearing your son say, getting to know you better. It's kind of weird. Like, you think you're family and you know everybody, right? Like, what you're saying is essentially just being around me more one-on-one time, more us time makes you more comfortable.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. That's kind of, I wasn't like, that's kind of a unique idea and a unique perspective. I mean, you think that just because we're family, it's like you automatically know who you are and know who your dad is or your mom is or whatever else. But I mean, you're getting older, you're learning more, you're seeing me evolve, whatever. So you think that you're more comfortable talking to me the more you get to know me, the more you spend time around me.
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you think, Piercy? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Is it fun spending time with me and feeling like you can talk more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we go on Harley rides and go and do stuff. You and I love going bowling. We're always talking about stuff. That's like me and Pierce's favorite thing to do is to go bowling. We just go do guys' night, jump on the Harley and jam some AC/DC and go eat some food and bowl. So does that make it, like, spending more time with me, Pierce, does that make it easier to talk to me, do you think?
Kind of.
Kind of? What do you think would make it easier?
I don't know.
You don't know? Think about it, okay? And you can tell me later.
Okay.
Okay, cool. That was a great question. It's actually a really good answer. I'm glad you said that. I think if guys are listening to this, you know, dads are listening to this, that's a, if you hear what Will's saying, I mean, building a relationship with your kid is like building a relationship with anybody else. I think the more time you spend with them, like the more powerful it is. Like the more you get to know them, you know? I mean, I'm evolving, you're evolving. I think there's an assumption that we just automatically, that's my kid or that's my dad, and you just automatically know him. But I'm not the same guy I was last year. Like you said, I'm on my phone a lot less. Even though a lot of people see like me on social media, I'm actually on my phone significantly less than I used to be, which is, you know, that's a goal that I've made, a priority that I've made. That's interesting. That's cool. I like that. Where are you going? Yeah, go ahead. Pierce is going, those of you that are listening, Pierce is running out. He's going to the bathroom. Potty break. He couldn't make it. We do 2-hour podcasts and we don't take potty breaks, but he's got to take a potty break. So Will, it's me and you. We're down to the final hours here, okay? All right, here's another question. Are they intimidated by your success? Andrew said, are they intimidated by your success, or are you intimidated by my success? How can you show them what hard work can produce and keep them on track without scaring them? Are you intimidated?
I'm not intimidated by your success and like what you've become.
What does that mean?
Like, I know that, like, I'm not afraid that when I'm gonna grow up, I'm not gonna be as big as you or like make as much money as you. I know that like you've taught us lots of lessons like with business and life that I know like sort of how to like become big and like make money, but that doesn't intimidate me. It motivates me.
Hell yeah. I mean, I want you guys to be 50 times, 1,000 times what I am as a man, as a provider, as a creator, as a father, you know, as a business owner. That's interesting. That's cool. I like that because I know that I am hard and I am intense a lot, but knowing that like it doesn't intimidate you is cool, you know? So how do you think, what do you think some of the things are that I do that push you in that direction or help you, I guess, not be intimidated, you know? Because I was intimidated by my dad. I totally was. I totally was. I never really had a relationship with my dad like we have. Like we never did guys' night. I don't remember one time ever as a kid doing guys' night. I don't ever remember dad just taking me out for pizza and it was just me and him talking, let alone racing or shooting or bowling or throwing the football or I don't remember any of that stuff. So I was really intimidated to talk to my father because it was like, oh, if I ask him this, he's going to be mad. Or if I say this, he's going to be mad. Hell, remember that story I told you about when I broke my hand? When I punched Uncle Brian in the head?
Yeah.
Like I was so scared to talk to my dad and I didn't talk to him about anything. I punched my brother in the head one time, which if you're going to punch him in the head, I'll teach you how to do it so you don't break your hand. But I punched my brother in the head and it broke my hand. And I was so afraid to tell my dad that my hand ended up blowing up like size of like a softball. It was just so swollen and so busted. And then my mom, Nana, saw it. What happened to your hand? I'm like, oh, I fell down. Like I was so scared to say anything because I was totally intimidated. So what do you think some things are that I do that help you not be intimidated? Do you think going and like doing a lot of the stuff like we're talking about, like you said, getting to know me and spending time and
Yeah.
like you and I went to the Barrett Jackson auction. That was like such a fun memory for me just because, you know, my buddies called and said, hey man, we come down to the auction. You and I jumped on a plane and we stayed in a hotel, just you and I, and we just walked around for 2 days at this incredible auction with $2, $3, $4 million cars and just, you know what I mean? We just walked around and ate freaking good food and, well, probably not good food, but we ate fried Oreos and
It tastes
that was
so good.
good food. Yeah. Let's just call it what it is. That's damn good food. Fried Oreos are really good. Might not be the healthiest for you, but it's good. But yeah, is it something like that a good example of what a dad could do to not just build a relationship with his kid, but to help kind of eliminate some of the intimidation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think spending time alone and just talking and all that stuff is what has really helped build that?
Yeah, I think it does.
Cool. Anything to say, Pierce? No? Okay. So here's something that I wanted to talk about that I think is really important because I obviously got divorced and there's actually been a couple questions people asked about divorce. One of the things that this guy says, it's not really very coherent, but I'll try and say it how I think he was trying to say it. He said, maintaining a solid relationship with your kids while going through a divorce when the ex is willing to spread hate and lies about you and your family to them. So really what he's saying is, how do you maintain a solid relationship? How do you create a good relationship with your kids while your ex, and we went through this, we talked about this, like what was your biggest takeaway, Will, from our divorce? Pierce, you were too little probably to remember much of it, but I know you did, Will, and you know how gnarly and bad and crazy it was. You know, you shared a little bit earlier with me about this. Like, what's your biggest takeaway, or what would you suggest or say to not only kids but to dads going through a gnarly divorce, similar to what he's talking about, like where you have beef, you have drama with your ex, and there's obviously kids involved?
I know that at the beginning of the divorce, it was like any other divorce. You guys didn't like each other. You didn't talk to each other. You hated each other. But I know that like now, you guys are really good friends. Like, you'll come over to dinner at Mom's house and we'll have a dinner and hang out together, and we have a really good time. And I know that you don't have to hate each other. You don't have to always be like that. You can become good friends.
What was it like for you going through it? Like, be real, like real, going from Mom's house to my house and then back and forth, and, you know, probably overhearing a lot of the dumb stuff that I'd say or that Mom would say. What was it like for you going through a divorce?
I don't remember much of it because I was young, but like, to me, it's just kind of like that's how it's always been because I was really young when it happened. So that's just how it's been for me. So I'm like used to it.
Good or bad?
Good.
Yeah. Like, what do you remember? Like, what would you say are like some of the things that you remember about it that you would talk about? You were kind of young. Mm-hmm. Would you say that it helped you see, you know, how to build relationships?
Yeah.
How so?
Because you guys were married and you like were happy, and then you didn't like each other, and like now you're friends again. Like, you can always come back and make your relationship better.
Yeah. What do you think What would you say to kids right now if there's kids listening to this that are going through a divorce? What would you say to those kids that are like in the middle of the divorce, not that are already out of it, but like what would you say right now to any kids that are going where their parents are going through a divorce right now?
It's like not your fault. It's like, I don't know. That's a hard one.
What would you say? There's a lot of kids in your space. I mean, there's kids that you know that their parents are going through a divorce. It's not an easy thing. Like, what would you say to them? Like, just to the kids. Imagine you're talking to a kid right now, you know, a teenage kid or a young kid or 10, 11, 12 years old, Pierce's age, or what would you say to them? Whether it's encouragement, good, bad, up, down, like what would you tell them if their parents are going through a divorce right now?
You don't, I think like you don't have to love one parent. Like you can still like think of them as your dad or your mom. Like it doesn't change anything with them. With you, it just, you're going to go back and forth or stay at one place.
Like love one more than the other, you mean?
Yeah.
Was that hard for you? Like feeling like you had to?
Yeah, like I had to like you more than mom, or like mom more than you. Like I felt like you would get mad at me if I liked mom more or like you more. Like I felt like I had to like one more than the other.
Yeah, that was hard. How do you feel like looking back at it now? Like, what's your thought about that?
You shouldn't feel like that. You should still love both of them. Like that shouldn't change how you feel with them.
Yeah. So love mom and dad kind of the same, even though mom and dad are going to war or dealing with their own drama, their own BS, their own anger, frustration, or whatever. Like you love them. You love them the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to, if you were to give any, okay, here's a big question for you. There's a big question. You ready for a big one? You want a big one?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Sure or yes?
Sure.
Sure or yes?
Yes.
Okay. What would you say to dads? Like, what would you say right now to a dad, right? Like you've got the mic, you get to say whatever you want. There's no right or wrong. Nobody's judging you. You know what I mean? What would you say to dads that are dealing with like anger and really dealing with like a divorce situation, kind of like mine, where I was really mad, I was really angry, I was very vindictive and spiteful and said a lot of dumb stuff and did a lot of dumb stuff. What would you say to dads that are going through that right now, that have kids?
I would try to spend more time with your kids, because while that's happening, you might like grow apart from them. Like they might not know you as much. Like I've said before, like get to know them better. Like go on guys' night out with them more often, and like just stay with them.
Yeah, through the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing, man. I know that, you know, divorce is a big topic because half of the marriages are ending in divorce right now, and it's a whole nother conversation about why and how and the whole thing. But like, you know, I know that it was a hard situation being a dad, like kids coming and going, and, you know, I want you to love me more than you love mom. And, you know, it's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And I think that's a great bit of advice to like spend more time, because, you know, Bryn was a little older, and I think she's mentioned to me a couple times. She's like, I could tell like you were mad. I could tell you were hurting. Same thing with mom, you know, but it's so hard to talk about that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What else? Anything else you want to say about that?
Nope.
Yeah. What's your biggest takeaway? What's your biggest takeaway, if you could say, from mom and my divorce? What's your biggest takeaway? What's the biggest thing you've learned?
It's cool that you guys are friends now. Like you don't have to hate each other for the rest of your life. You can become friends with each other.
Yeah. What has that taught you?
That you don't like, if you don't like somebody, you don't have to like them. You don't have to not like them for the rest of your life. You can always come back and like improve your relationship.
Hell yeah. Dope, dude. I love it. Good answer. Good answer. Pierce, anything? Are you glad that me and mom are friends? Are you glad that we hang out and then we all get to have fun together and go camping and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, why? Why is that important to you?
because then we won't like remember you or anything.
Yeah. So the more we hang out, the more fun it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're always going to remember me. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about that? Plus, I wouldn't be able to hang out with Sienna and Griffin. Those little turds. They're awesome. All right. Ready for the next question?
Yep.
Let's see. What do they admire about you? What do you admire about your dad?
You like to do everything. You like spending time with us, and you're always improving. You're always like asking us how can I become like a better dad? Like, what can I do to like improve my relationship with you? Like, what can we do? And you're always like wanting to do stuff with us and spend time with us.
Cool. Good answer. Pierce, what do you like about your dad? What do you admire about your dad? You don't know? Do you agree with what Will said? That it's fun being able to spend time together and talk a lot and ask questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel? Being able to like go hang out with me all the time and have conversations with me and stuff.
Fun.
It's fun. How do you feel when we do that?
Like happy.
Happy? Yeah. Why? Why do you feel happy? Why does it make you feel happy? Do you feel like connected? Like you feel like we're like kind of like becoming better friends? Like we know
Yeah.
each other better, right? Cool. Good. Let's see. Here's a good one. You ready for this one, Piercy? This one's good. This is for both of you. Melissa said, do they ever physically fight? Do you guys ever physically fight? So
Yeah.
you guys fight. So do you guys fight all the time, right? I think
Yeah.
that's normal. Do you guys ever you guys punch each other, right?
Yeah.
Pierce, do you punch Will?
Yeah.
Why?
He's really wrestling and stuff.
So you're wrestling. Do you ever get really mad at him
Yeah.
and hit him?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you do that?
No.
Because he pisses you off? So what do you do afterwards? How do you handle that afterwards? Do you talk about it?
Yeah, we like talk about it and stuff.
Do you say you're sorry?
Yeah.
Do you apologize? Do you mean it?
Mm-hmm.
Does he ever punch you when he's mad?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. How does that make you feel?
Like sad and stuff.
Yeah. So after he does that and you get sad and stuff, like what makes you feel better?
I don't know.
When you talk about it, does it make
Yeah.
you feel better? Yeah. Because then you kind of understand a little more. When he apologizes and he means it, does that make you feel better?
Mm-hmm.
Will, do you guys ever physically fight?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Why? How do you handle it?
We'll get in a disagreement, and then it'll just like get worse from there, and we'll just get mad at each other.
Yep. What am I? And this is something parents, dads, like this is something that I'm like. I say I love you to you guys all the time, and it's probably the thing that I say the most. But the thing that I probably say the most to you guys when you're dealing with something, when something's going crazy, when you're pissed, when you can't find something, when you can't fix something, whatever. What am I always saying to you? Do you know?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth, yeah. But what else do I say?
Find a solution.
Find a solution. Yep. Solve the problem, right? And so this is something that I'm like ruthlessly committed to, dads that are listening. Like I want my kids to solve problems. Like I want you, when you two are kicking the shit out of each other, I don't really care. Like when Pierce, when you come over and you're like, Dad, what do I always say?
Hold on.
Like solve the problem, right? I tell you that? I'm like, solve the problem, right? Am I saying that to you, Will?
Yep.
Like create a solution, because I don't want to solve all your problems, man. Like if you two are pissed off, if you two are angry, you solve it. You need to figure out how to work it out. You need to create resolution to conflict, right? That's something that I'm very, very, very adamant about. Like my kids punch each other like every other kid out there, I suspect. They get into fights and arguments and blame and Daddy did this, Daddy did that. And I'm like, dude, solve the problem, man. And here's the thing that I enjoy about that is I don't have to worry about it. Like I don't worry about it. with you guys. Like, I'm not over here trying to like hold your hands and be like, okay, what happened, son? How'd that make you feel? Like, I don't want to get into all that crap. I'm like, yo, solve the problem. How do you feel about that, Will? Like when something's going on, you know, would you rather have me get involved in everything or would you rather solve it yourself?
When stuff like that happens and I come tell you, like, at the moment and you say solve the problem, I'm like, bug, because I'm like, this would be so much easier if you just come and say stop and it all ends right then. But then later I'm like, realize that I'm not going to be able to come to you with all my problems in life and you come solve this. It helps me learn that lesson to like do it myself.
Gold, dude. That is just holy shit. That's like the objective, right? Like knowing that I'm not going to be around, knowing I'm not going to be there all the time. Like parents, I think you got to let your kids kick the crap out of each other. You got to let them fight. You got to let them get hurt. You got to let them fall down. You got to let them experience life and not bubble wrap them and try and solve every damn problem that they face. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be around all the time. You're going to go do what you're going to do and grow up and whatever. And the idea that I'm going to solve all your problems now, I'm not going to solve all your problems then. So why would I instill in you that, hey, come to me and I'll handle all your shit? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Dude, that's huge, man. That is such a huge takeaway. And something that I'm like proud of. Cause I mean, I don't want to raise a bunch of friggin' entitled little babies, you know, they're always relying on me to solve their problems. I think fighting is good too, period. We tell them about the bag in the front hall closet, Pierce. What do I have? I have a big bag in the front hall closet that has a bunch of stuff in it. My gym bag. What's in it?
Oh, boxing gloves.
Yep. And what else?
The mask thing.
Headgear. And every now and again, you'll disappear for a minute and you come back into the room and what do you have? What are you doing?
The boxing gloves, and me and Will are boxing and stuff.
You put boxing gloves on, you put headgear on, and you and Will start going at it, right? You or Will or Nixon or whoever, and you guys start beating the crap out of each other, right?
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. I have a funny video of that. Was it last Christmas? You guys were like beating the tar out of each other and like right in front of
like Nana gave us those like mitten things when we were fighting with those.
Which ones? Oh, the oven mitts. Yeah, you guys put oven mitts on and pretend they were boxing gloves. And you guys were like punching each other with those. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I grew up that way, man. Like I want you guys to grow up that way, solving problems. You know, that's why like you deal with it on the playground. It's just you just solve your own problems. You don't need to tell all the teachers and tell the neighbors and tell everybody. It's like solve the problem. You know what I mean? You're going to be facing reality and situations your whole life. Like solve the problem. I think parents getting out of the way more times than not is huge. All right, ready for the next one? What is it about their dad? What is it about your dad that you're most proud of? What do you think? What are you most proud of?
Your influence on people. Like, I love that we're always out and about and there's always somebody that's like, hey, can I get a picture with you? Or I watch your videos. It really inspires me, like, that you can inspire people that much that like changes their life. That'll change how they do things or run.
One of the things I was recently asked is, what is my favorite, like, what do I appreciate the most? What do I like the most about this kind of social thing? Like having a lot of followers and like blowing up this thing socially, right? Like being known by a lot of people. I hate the idea of like the celebrity name of the influencer, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. But like they asked, what's your favorite thing about it? And, you know, is it making more money? Is it having videos? Is it being recognized? And I said, the thing that I love the most is when we're out in public and somebody comes up to me and like recognizes me from a video or has read my book or the post. Like that's the thing that makes me the most excited. That's the thing that I probably love more than anything else is you guys experiencing that. Like there's tons of times where you're like, hey, I'll take the picture, right? And you grab their camera and take a picture of me and somebody, you know, at a Home Depot or whatever. What have you learned from that?
I learned that like you don't have to be Donald Trump to change somebody's life. You can still be you don't have to be huge. You can still be someone to change someone's life and influence them in like a good way.
How do you do that? How do I do that? How is it that I've reached so many people and had so much quote unquote influence over people?
You speak your mind, because a lot of other people are thinking what you're saying. They're just too afraid to say it.
Yeah. So what's your takeaway from that? What have you learned from that? Watching this happen over the last 2 years specifically, really like what's things have blown up. Like, what have you learned from that?
You can like speak your mind, and if you want to follow that, you can. And if you don't, you can do that too.
Yeah. Would you say, here's an interesting question for you, I'm on the spot with, would you say that I'm as my son, I'm happier now than I was a year or two ago?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why do you think so?
Because you're just like, you're becoming bigger, and your videos are like getting bigger, and you're speaking your mind more.
Yeah. Telling more truth?
Yeah, you're speaking the truth a lot more.
And how would you say that affects me as a dad?
You're not lying to us. You're telling the truth, and you're always being honest with us.
Yeah. And it makes me happier?
Mm-hmm.
Is it better, Pierce, to have like me be a happy dad or a grumpy dad?
Happy.
Yeah, why? We get to go do more fun stuff when I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
So what do you, if telling the truth is what's making me happier, what do you think everybody should do?
Tell the truth.
Why?
So everyone can be happy and have fun and stuff.
Yeah, you want to have happy kids, you tell the truth. Happy dads tell the truth, right? So what do you think you should do more of?
Tell the truth.
Yeah, why?
So you can be happy.
Is it scary sometimes?
Yeah.
Like especially when you like screw something up or you break something or whatever, it's kind of scary to tell the truth sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I've always told you the same thing. Like I might get frustrated at a situation or whatever, but I'll never like go absolutely bonkers as long as you tell me the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to see me flip out, lie to me. But if you tell me the truth, we'll work through the problem, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. That's good, Will. That's a huge takeaway, man. That's a big thing. It's a big takeaway, you know? Let's see. Thankfulness, gratitude, and manners. One of the things that I mean, this isn't even a question, but one of the things that I'm like extremely proud of you guys of is your manners, is you hold doors open for people, not just women, but everybody, right? And saying please and thank you. I've had countless compliments from people on your guys' manners, on how well mannered you are and how well behaved you are. And that's just because like I don't feed you, right? You'll never eat another meal again unless you have manners. Is that how it works? No, I'm proud of that really, because that's something that's huge, man. There's a lot of kids that literally are telling their parents to like F off. Like there's kids that are just total shitheads to their parents and like speak so freaking poorly towards other people and whatever. And it's just disgusting, right? And something that I'm very, very, very adamant about is you guys having manners and just being well-mannered kids. And I think you guys are. Do you notice a difference, Will, in school, kids with manners and kids that don't have manners?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Just like you can tell when somebody's like has manners and is respectful of like adults and other people. When you see somebody that doesn't, you can just see it. Like you can tell.
And how does that make you feel? I mean, when you see a kid that doesn't have manners, like how do you feel? How do you feel?
I'm just like, I'm glad that I do, because I don't know how they are, but I know that their life's probably different and they're probably thinking different things and doing different things rather than when you have manners.
Yeah. That's huge, man. Pierce, is it good to have manners?
Yeah.
Is it good to say please and thank you?
Yep.
Do you like when people have manners with you?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You should probably what?
Use manners.
Have manners with them. Absolutely. There's something that I think it's to like, it creates like a level of discipline. It creates a level of like integrity, right? Like you might only meet somebody for a brief second. You might only meet somebody for a minute, and you have an opportunity to make an impression, not just on, that person, but on the universe, on the world, like in that one moment. Like, did you say something or do something that's meaningful and impactful for the positive or for the negative, right? Like, imagine seeing a kid in a store who's like throwing a temper tantrum, like throws a bottle of shampoo at their parents. And you're like, what the hell, right? You want to like smack that kid across the face. At least I do. Versus a kid who's like opening up a door and holding it for somebody, or, helping somebody reach something on a tall shelf, or, running over and holding a door or whatever. That's far better of an influence and far better of an impression that you're leaving than just being a little turd, right? Okay, last question. Somebody asked about the first hunt. So the deal was with me once the kids turned 8, that we'd go hunting. That was like the age to hunt. So Pierce, this will be Pierce's come, but he hasn't really gone up. Actually, yeah, you were there when we shot the deer last year, right?
No.
Yeah, it was. It was you and Will and Nixon, right? Remember when we shot that deer right off the road? That was kind of a
I
crazy
don't
story.
think I was there.
Yeah, you were. Wasn't he there? Yeah, you were there because Bren was back at camp. You don't remember me shooting that deer? Come on, bro. Get in the game. I think that was not last year, but the year before. What was, Will, your first hunt? Talk about your first hunt with me.
It was really fun. It was crazy. I didn't know what to expect, and it was hard hiking all over and following the deer, but it was a really cool experience.
We did an elk hunt. Our first hunt was the elk hunt, remember? We hiked all the way up that mountain, and then you got really hungry,
Yeah.
and we didn't bring any food, but what was all around us?
There was elk everywhere.
And it was a learning experience for Dad, because I'm sitting there on this ridge, and we hiked a good ways. We hiked a lot of elevation. Like, it was definitely a pretty gnarly hike, especially for you. And we're sitting on this ridge, and Will's like, Dad, I'm really hungry. And I'm like, bro, we're on the freaking elk. Like, we're not leaving here. There's elk everywhere. We're going to shoot one of these sons of bitches. But Will's like, he said it probably 2 or 3 times. He's like, yeah, Dad, I heard that elk, but I'm really hungry. And I remember thinking, all right, I gotta make a decision here. Do I starve my kid? Do I tell him to like eat leaves and berries? Or so we said, right? We said, all right, we'll go down, we'll eat some food, and then we'll come back up and find these elk. And what happened when we came back up?
They were gone.
Gone. We couldn't find them. How do you feel about that?
Sucks.
Are you sad? Mm-hmm. Do you think about it every day?
Yep.
You should, because we didn't shoot an elk because of you, just so you know. I hope that was the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich you've ever freaking had, because we have like 240 pounds of meat that were not put in the freezer. I love hunting. I love hunting with you guys. It's so much freaking fun, man. When you're on that hunt, that one hunt that we went where we shot the deer right off the road.
That was crazy.
Long story short, we save you guys all the time of hearing the whole story, but when we went to bed that night, I had the kids put our arrows. We brought our bows to camp. We were shooting our bows, and somehow somebody put the bows in, and the keys got locked in the car. And don't ask me how. It was a brand new truck, whatever. Anyways, the keys got locked in the truck. There was no cell phone reception, so I couldn't get OnStar to open it. So I had to like I hiked like 4 miles to where I had cell phone reception. Called OnStar. OnStar said, well, your truck's not in cell phone reception, so we can't open the doors, which I learned something new that day, that OnStar only works where you have cell phone reception, which kind of makes it pointless, right? Anyway, so we went back. I hiked back to camp. It was still dark out, and I ended up busting the window. And I learned another lesson, which is bust the side windows. The side windows they don't shred like the way the back window does. And you have the heater and like the defroster. It's like $500 to replace the back window versus like $75 to replace the side window. Lesson learned, right? Long story short, I end up busting the window. I'm pissed as hell. I'm like yelling at the kids to get up. They get up. Sun's coming up. I know that my spot that we were going to go hunt this deer was already taken, and the sun was coming up. And once the sun comes up, it's opening day, right? So we literally drove maybe 3 or 4 miles. And do you remember? I just pulled over. I'm like, screw it, dude. Mm-hmm. We're going to hunt right here. And we literally pulled over. We walked off of the road, maybe 30 or 40 feet, and we just sat down. And I knew there was this big, huge opening and field, right? And we just sat there, and I was pissed. I'm not gonna lie, I was super pissed. It was the two of you were there, and then Nixon was there as well. And sure enough, as soon as the sun starts coming up, what happened, Will?
A deer came right out into the clearing.
A big buck. We heard the rustling in the trees.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, 100 yards away, this freaking huge buck comes prancing out right in front of us. You remember that?
Yeah, we were all like super excited and trying to stay quiet at the same time. Like, holy crap, this is awesome.
And sure enough, he went to about 100. We figured he was about 120 yards, give or take a little bit. And I shot him, and I still have the video. Maybe we'll figure out a way to link the video here into the podcast. So you guys can watch. It's pretty cool. You guys were pretty young, and I ended up popping this deer. And literally, by the time we got to him, you remember how many other hunters we saw? There was like orange hats everywhere,
Probably like
and
30 or 40.
literally, by the time we got to the deer that I shot, that we had already passed like a half a dozen other hunters that were like, dude, did you take that shot? Did you take that shot? They were everywhere. We got so bloody lucky with that. And it ended up being a pretty expensive deer because I had to replace the back window of my truck. But it made it worth it to like pop him right out of the gates. And then we got our deer. But then I had to drag him because we like hiked down the hill. Remember how far I had to drag that sumbitch?
It's crazy.
That was pretty far. That was kind of nuts. Will, anything else you want to say, bud? Anything you want to say to, there's 6 billion teenagers, young kids that are listening to this right now. What would you say to them? As a 12-year-old William, what would you say to all the kids that are listening to this right now?
Just be a good person. Be polite. Tell the truth. Be a good person. Just do good things.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be a
Like,
good person?
Not be mean and just be nice to everyone. Help somebody that needs help. Just be nice to everyone. Hold the doors. Tell the truth. Just do good.
Yeah. And what happens when you meet the bully on the playground?
Take him. Just
Take him where? To McDonald's? You can take him to
Down.
McDonald's with you? What do? You can be nice to people. That's mission number one. Be nice to everybody, right? Be polite, be kind,
stand
be
up for
courteous.
people.
Stand up to people. What do you do when you see somebody picking on somebody less fortunate? What do you do when you see somebody like messing around with animals or being mean or rude to animals? What do?
You go punch him.
You punch them, man. You take care of business. Take care of business, right? I'm sure people will be like, oh my gosh, you teach your kids to do that? You're damn right I do. You're damn right, because how do you stop a bully?
You can't just end it with words.
Yeah, you got to take them out, right? That's how we do it. It's a great way to end the podcast, dude. Talk about taking out bullies. Just freaking smack them. Sometimes that's what happens, right?
Yep.
We're very, very, very cautious of that. We're very respectful of that. That's something that I've taught you guys. You've seen me fight. You know what I mean? And that is the last option. That is the last resort. But sometimes it works, right?
Yep.
You never let anybody lay their hands on you. Somebody puts their hands on you, what do?
Punch him.
Take care of business. Right, Pierce? Pierce would just hug him. Pierce would give him a big bear hug. Is that what you do?
No.
You go to the bully and you're like, I'm going to squeeze the life out of you. Is that what you do?
No.
No? All right. Anything else you want to say, Piercey boy?
Nope.
What one thing would you want to tell? If you had a bunch of other 9-year-old kids around, like what would you tell them to make them happy? What would you tell them to motivate them and inspire them?
To like do good manners and like to not lie and stuff.
Yeah. Have good manners, tell the truth, and what else? Have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them to have a lot of damn fun, right? We have a lot of fun, don't we, Piercy?
Yep.
Yeah. We're gonna have as much fun as we possibly can, as long as we're alive. That's how we roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Work hard, be honest in your dealings, right? And then have a damn good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, my friends. I think that's it. I think we're wrapping it with this one. This is a good podcast. Will? Yeah? What's your biggest takeaway from doing a podcast with me? What's your biggest takeaway from this conversation?
It's cool just opening up and talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's not right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just talking, just having a conversation. Would you be open to kids would you be open to talking to kids if kids wanted to talk to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Any kids out there that want to talk to the man, the myth, and the legend, the professional race car co-driver and driver? Will had his very first race. He drove. Well, you tell him. Tell him.
It was cool. I was nervous, super nervous, but I'm glad I did it. And
What'd you do? What was it? Tell everybody really quick about it.
I raced the razor. I drove. I'm always co-driving with Dad, and this one I was driving, and he was co-driving for me. It was a way crazy race. I loved it.
We found a local race circuit and there was a 2 lap. Was it 2 laps or 3 laps?
2.
2 laps. It was about a 75-mile race, and Will took what place did you take?
I got third out of 9 people.
Third out of 9 racers, and you were the youngest of anybody in the class, right?
Yep.
How'd you feel?
I was so happy. It was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. That was like one of my highlights. Knowing I was nervous. I was so freaking nervous, dude. And I know you were nervous too, huh? Mm-hmm. Live life, my friends. That's the lesson. That's the moral of the story, right, Piercy? We only get one shot at this. There's only so many days that we have left. I don't know when my ticket's going to be punched, but until that day comes, we're going to have a damn good time. We're going to work hard. We're going to add value. We're going to help people. And then we're going to have a really, really, really good time. Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Pierce, anything else you want to say, dog?
Nope.
You sure?
Yep.
What do you want to say to say something to Mom? Tell Mom you love her. I guarantee she's going to listen to this.
No,
She's going to
she
want to
won't.
know. Yes, she will. She want to know what we did, what we talked about. Tell Mom you love her.
I love you.
Say love you, Mom. Love you, Mom. Will, tell your mom you love her.
Love you, Mom.
I'm going to get so many brownie points for that. It's going to be awesome. My friends, love your kids. Love life, man. Dads, reach out. I love running. I love running lions, not sheep. I love having a collective group of dads that want to spend time with their kids, that want to build, they want to grow. Because at the end of the day, one of my favorite quotes, no success that I have will compensate for failing at home. If I fail these little turds and don't teach them how to be good men, who gives a damn how much money I make, how many race cars I have? So my mission and objective is to teach these little freaking turd buckets how to be good men. It's not easy. I try and be the best man that I can be and show you, because I can tell you how to be a good dude, but I want to show you how to be a good dude. So anyways, my friends, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please share this. If you're a dad and you have other friends that are dads, ladies, if you're listening to this, please share this with men that you know, with teenagers that you know, and let's create some positive vibes. Let's teach people and share with people and show people how to just be good kids, good adults, just good human beings. I like how you said that, Will. It's really good. Just be good. Be a good person. When you feel good, right? Mm-hmm. And it feels good to feel good. Yeah. It feels good to be good. All right. Until next time, my friends, see ya. Peace.
My people, it's time to move out. Move out. My people, it's time to move out. Show 'em what we do now. They say that work seems so hard to follow. I am not a role model, only a teacher. Teach 'em